All right, let me explain now on HDL metabolism. So HDL like synthesis of HDL, it'll be from intestine and the liver. So the hepatocytes and the intestinal epithelial cells, they have got an ability to synthesize ApoA1, that is apolipoprotein A1, which is the major apolipoprotein present in HDL, will be synthesized by intestine. So I'm going to make ApoA1 here, ApoA1, that is a major apolipoprotein coming from intestine, and it will come from hepatocytes. As it is synthesized and secreted by intestine and the hepatocyte, ApoA1, it brings phospholipid. So it will bring phospholipid along with that. So there will be phospholipid. So ApoA1 along with the phospholipid. Once it is there in the circulation, this ApoA1, it's going to recruit different proteins that are there in the circulation. Basically, it is going to recruit CETP, cholesterol ester transport protein, which is synthesized by the liver. It's going to recruit peroxidase enzyme, which is an antioxidant enzyme. It's going to recruit LCAT enzyme, lecithin cholesterol acyl transferase enzyme, and it's going to recruit all the apolipoproteins except ApoB100 and ApoB48. Okay, so it has got plenty of proteins on its surface and it has got phospholipid there. The molecule that you see here, which is called as discoid nascent HDL, discoidal because it looks like a disc shape, that's why it is discoidal nascent HDL. This is a discoidal nascent HDL, newly synthesized HDL molecule. Okay, it has got phospholipid there, ApoA1, CETP, peroxidase, LCAT, and also it has got all the other apolipoproteins except B48 and B100. Okay, that is why HDL is acting as a donor of other apolipoproteins to other lipoprotein molecules, like what we have seen before. So I have said chylomicron is gaining ApoC2 and ApoE from HDL. VLDL gaining ApoC2 and ApoE from HDL. Whenever these molecules are releasing ApoC2 and ApoE, they all will come back to HDL. Like I am releasing ApoC2 here. When the chylomicron is converted to chylomicron remnant, ApoC2 is released and that ApoC2 will go back to HDL. When VLDL is converted to IDL, ApoC2 is released and that is going back to HDL. And also, as I said, so IDL, which is converted to LDL. So there will be release of ApoE here, ApoE. This ApoE will be going back to HDL. And also, as it is given here, IDL to LDL, ApoE go back to HDL. It means HDL will donate apolipoproteins whenever these other lipoproteins they need apolipoprotein molecules. Okay, let's see what happens to nascent discoidal HDL. This nascent discoidal HDL is going to get cholesterol from peripheral tissue. Now here is your peripheral tissue. What we have seen, peripheral tissue takes LDL from circulation by LDL receptor, cholesterol ester along with vitamin E reaches the peripheral tissue. Peripheral tissue uses that cholesterol ester for whatever the needs of that tissue. Just in case if there is plenty of cholesterol in the peripheral tissue, they will decrease expression of LDL receptor on the surface, and also they are going to pump out that extra cholesterol into the circulation. Basically the extra cholesterol is pumped out by ABCA1 transporter. The name of the transporter which is pumping out extra cholesterol from peripheral tissues to HDL specifically is ABCA1, that is ATP binding cassette transporter A1. That this is the type of ATP binding cassette transporter. What it does? So it is going to, when the cholesterol is pumped out, it is in direct, basically it is in connection with the LCAT. The LCAT is here, down here, discoidal nascent HDL. So what I'll do is I'm going to bring that discoidal nascent HDL down here so that I'll be able to explain you better. So what I'm just bringing this discoidal nascent HDL and writing that here. So it has got phospholipid, it has got LCAT here, it has got peroxidase, it has got CETP, and it has got ApoA1. Now ApoA1 is a positive modulator of LCAT. ApoA1 basically activate LCAT enzyme. Okay, when ABCA1 is transporting excess cholesterol out of the peripheral tissue into the blood, and that is taken up by the LCAT enzyme, what this LCAT does with that cholesterol? So the cholesterol here, cholesterol which is coming out, it will be converted into cholesterol ester by LCAT enzyme. Name of the LCAT, basically it is lecithin cholesterol acyl transferase. Okay, what it does? It is going to take cholesterol and it's going to break down lecithin. Lecithin is phosphatidylcholine, PC. PC for phosphatidylcholine. Other name for phosphatidylcholine is lecithin. Lecithin, and it's going to release that lecithin as lysolecithin. Lysolecithin. Lecithin is converted to lysolecithin. So the difference between lecithin and lysolecithin is lysolecithin do not have a fatty acid. Lecithin is losing fatty acid and becoming lysolecithin. Where did that fatty acid go? That fatty acid is taken up by the LCAT and insert that fatty acid into cholesterol at the third carbon, hydroxyl group at the third carbon, and convert that into cholesterol ester. That is the function of LCAT. So LCAT converts cholesterol into cholesterol ester and it is going to load it into the center of discoidal nascent HDL molecule. So LCAT continuously does this. So as the continuous accumulation of cholesterol ester goes on, it is going to be accumulated in the central core of nascent discoidal HDL molecule. That's why it's going to change its shape. Basically, your nascent discoidal HDL molecule will be converted into HDL3 because of the continuous action of LCAT enzyme. That is the enzyme which is responsible for conversion of nascent discoidal HDL into HDL3. Because of this, what happens? Your HDL3 has become rich in cholesterol ester, and this cholesterol ester present in the HDL3, now it is ready for exchange done by CETP, which I have already explained you previously. So the CETP which is there on the surface of HDL3 molecule, in fact any HDL molecule, what it does, now it's going to exchange this excess cholesterol ester with the VLDL, IDL, LDL in exchange for triacylglycerol. So with the continuous action of CETP, so your HDL3 is losing cholesterol ester and it is gaining triacylglycerol. Okay, because of this, what happens? Triacylglycerol content increases and cholesterol ester content is still present there. So, and also of course it has got ApoA1 on the surface, it has got LCAT, all those enzymes, CETP, peroxidase, all enzymes, all the other apolipoproteins except ApoB100, B48 still there. But only thing is HDL3, now it is converted to HDL2 molecule. This is HDL2. HDL2 has more triacylglycerol, and also it has continued to accumulate cholesterol ester because this LCAT here, it continues to work on HDL2 also. Whatever the LCAT, that function that we have seen here, LCAT continue to do its function. So it means it is continued to load cholesterol ester. On one side, HDL3 is losing cholesterol ester by CETP and gaining triacylglycerol. That's why HDL2 has got more triacylglycerol, but it continues to have cholesterol ester. Although it is losing by CETP, but it continues to contain it. Why? Because LCAT is bringing it continuously. So as HDL3 is going into HDL2, LCAT continue to work and you still have cholesterol ester here. Okay. Now, what will happen to this HDL2 now? So HDL2 has got two fate. One is HDL2 can go to the liver and interact with SRB1 receptor. SRB1 receptor. And what this SRB1 receptor does? So SRB1 receptor, which is present over the hepatocyte membrane, so it is going to take away cholesterol and cholesterol ester from HDL2 molecule, and also there is an enzyme called HL, that is hepatic lipase, which is besides to hepatic lipase, which is besides to SRB1, which is on this surface of hepatocyte. What it does is going to break down triacylglycerol into free fatty acids and glycerol molecule. So basically HDL2, as it is passing through the hepatocyte membrane, it is going to lose its cholesterol ester and cholesterol is going to lose its triacylglycerol, and that will be taken up by the liver. So at the end of it all, what happens to your HDL2? HDL2 is coming back as nascent discoidal HDL. It means cholesterol, ester and triglycerides are taken by the liver and the rest of the molecule is released, and that's what is nascent discoidal HDL molecule. That's one fate of it. Another fate is HDL2 can interact only with hepatic lipase. HDL2 is interacting only with the hepatic lipase. It's not interacting with the SRB1. It is interacting with the hepatic lipase and losing only triacylglycerol part of it, and the rest of the molecule will come as HDL3 molecule. Okay, so if you degrade only triacylglycerol part of HDL2, retain cholesterol ester, so basically you are bringing it back to HDL3, because as you all know, HDL3 is rich in cholesterol ester, whereas HDL2 is rich in both triacylglycerol and cholesterol ester. So hepatic lipase is taking only triacylglycerol into the liver, rest of the molecule is released, and that is what is HDL3 molecule. So nascent discoidal HDL into HDL3 done by LCAT enzyme, HDL3 into HDL2 is done by CETP and LCAT, both the enzymes. Now HDL2 will be going back to the liver by SRB1 receptor, coming out as discoidal nascent HDL after the action of SRB1 and hepatic lipase, or if only hepatic lipase acts, it is coming back as HDL3. Now overall what we have done here, so overall we have taken cholesterol present in the peripheral tissue back into the liver. Okay, so the cholesterol, excess cholesterol present in the peripheral tissue is taken up by the HDL, and HDL, nascent discoidal HDL converted to HDL3, HDL3 converted to HDL2, HDL2 has given that cholesterol back into liver, and this journey of cholesterol from peripheral tissues to the liver is called as reverse cholesterol transport. Normally what happens, liver is going to synthesize cholesterol and put it on to VLDL, VLDL is converted to IDL, IDL is converted to LDL, LDL is taken up by the liver, peripheral tissue. That's an onward journey for cholesterol. So cholesterol coming from liver to the peripheral tissue, helped by VLDL, IDL and LDL ultimately. That is an onward journey of cholesterol. Reverse journey, peripheral tissues to discoidal nascent HDL, HDL3, HDL2 to the liver. And that's the reverse journey of cholesterol. And that's what is reverse cholesterol transport mechanism. With this, basically HDL is not allowing cholesterol to accumulate in the peripheral tissue, and that helps in the prevention of atherosclerosis. Thank you.